Page. Good. Good.
Yeah, it is.
All right, we are officially live. Welcome everybody to episode 39 of FMA discussion. Tonight we have Guru Carlos with us, and tonight he's going to be discussing dirty boxing, the program under Danny Sullivan, and other stuff. And he's going to perform a bunch of demos, and then we're going to get a little questionnaire from his son, who's 17 years old, who's really become involved in the arts, and we're going to get his perspective on what he thinks about them and all that, which I can't wait for that. I love seeing the younger generation get involved. So, how are you, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. Thank you so much for having me again. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad we were able to work this out. I know you had some stuff going on with some of the other days and all that. So, what's the current situation before we jump into stuff? What do you guys got for the whole COVID-19? What's the parameters around training, what have you, and all that?
You're talking about where I live?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like right now, I just started teaching my privates again this past week, and I'm doing everything outside right now. And I only have the most I have right now are 2 people at a time. So, but the gyms are still closed. They were supposed to open July 6th, I believe it was, but now they just got notified that they're not going to be opening in this next phase at all. So all the schools, all the gyms, they're they're hurting because they're not allowing them to open right now.
Wow, because like in Connecticut, the like workout gyms, more on the weightlifting side, they're open. You have to sign in. They take your tab, what have you. But you don't have to wear the mask as long as there's not too many people in like one particular area group. The martial arts schools are also open, but they have to do a lot of like to make sure the 6 feet and what have you. And I can only imagine when they're dealing with kids, that's got to be a juggernaut. But
yeah.
But they're open. I mean, things are moving along, and there's supposed to be another phase that's coming down the way, which I don't know if that's going to allow less restrictions or what have you. But I mean, I guess time will tell.
In New York, they're in limbo right now. They're in limbo. They
Yeah.
were told one thing and it changed, and now they don't even know when they're going to be allowed to be open. So I know they're. Yeah.
I know this is like, man. I just if you had told me this last year, I would have been like, what?
Yeah. I know.
I know. Then I hear the spike down the south, and just wondering if that's going to create residual up here. And man, I don't know, like Texas and Florida, I guess they got a huge spike. I don't know if it's so much testing people, or there's just been, I don't know. That's another thing too. You have to like really weigh what you're hearing.
Yeah, I think that's what they're worried about, the spikes. So I think that's why they kind of changed everything that they wanted.
The hospitals getting overloaded. And, yeah, which I understand that and all that, but I was supposed to go to Texas to go train with this guy in KI, Guru Vico. He's but they just said whoever goes to those states, Florida, Texas, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, you have to be on 14 days when you return restriction.
Right.
So I don't know, man. It looks like I'm going to be postponing that, coming back for 14 days and having somebody follow you around. I'm telling you, this is like crazy.
Yeah, big.
Oh yeah. All right. So those who are jumping in, we had Guru Carlos on some months back, and we went into his journey and all that. Tonight we're going to be paying more details, basically, to dirty boxing and all that. But just for the viewers who didn't see the last one, you are in fact under Guru Dan. Okay. And it sounds like through Guru Dan, you kind of became acquainted with Guru Dan Sullivan, and then the dirty boxing.
Well, it wasn't so much through Guru Dan. It's when Guru Daniel, he did his first East Coast camp in Queens, New York, at Guru Nixon School, Progressive Martial Arts. That was the first East Coast camp, and I believe that was I forget the year. I think 2015, whatever it was. And that's how I met him, and that's how I started my instructorship journey through him, through the instructor camp that he put forth, and I've been with him since that time frame.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. And what just before we get into the nuts and bolts of the system, like what was the attraction? Like what made you want to check it out or whatever?
I, anybody that studies under Gurdan and Asano knows how meticulous he is with putting things into sets, and it's kind of like it's not like nothing's set in stone with him. It's he gives you like options, and then it's for you to kind of explore. It's basically like a guide. It's like, okay, here's set A through B, whatever it is, and take it, learn it, and then take it apart and see what you can come up
Hmm.
with. So Daniel Sullivan, he kind of followed the same model with the Panatuka, with the dirty boxing that he put together, and it's he just basically expounded on what Gurdan teaches. So he just created more sets, and the sets work in a way that they make sense with each other. You know,
Okay.
so you'll see a particular technique in a particular set, and you'll see move A, B, C, D, and E, and they all make sense with each other. They kind of follow
Right,
the
right,
pattern.
right.
And like I said, he basically just expounded on what Gurdan teaches. So, and
Okay.
he
No,
made it his own flavor. Daniel's also,
yeah.
he's an Ajahn in Thai boxing. He's a senior, he's a full instructor, excuse me, under Gurdan in Kali, Kali, Junfan, and in Mafalindo. So, so he has his own flavor, and that's pretty much holds true with any art, right? Every instructor has their own flavor to what they do with their own experiences. Mm-hmm. So you can go to 10 different instructors under one main guy, let's say under Gurdan and Asano, and everybody has their own flavor. You'll learn the same curriculum pretty much, the same movement, but everybody has their own experience to teach the way they do. So this is like Gurdan's expression of his Panatukan. And
that's all consistent with like what Burton has always told me. It's like, he gives you everything. It's up to you to do with it what you want. I mean,
absolutely.
You don't have to just sit there and be a robot. I mean, you should be encouraged to take it apart, put your own spin to it, and explore it, recreate.
Improve upon it. It's got to evolve. The art has to evolve. It can't stay stagnant. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with, I think, with a lot of traditional arts, that there's nothing wrong with the traditional art, and there's nothing wrong with teaching the traditional of what you learned.
Sure.
But you want to constantly try to improve it. So it's good to say, okay, this is the original of what we do, or whatever you want to look at it, and say, okay, but let's build from there. I like the way Gurdan always says. He goes, if we fought now the way we did during the Civil War, we wouldn't have won another war, right? So things have to improve, and they have to develop. So and I think that's just the state of the arts today. Anyway, look at mixed martial arts. I mean, look what has become from what it started.
Oh my gosh, from like the early days. I mean, you want to talk about like, expanding and recreating and
exactly.
I mean that's, you can't think of a better example as far as the world today. What's going on there. So then, all right. So you, circa, right around 2015, you attend Dan's first thing. So when you're there, like, what was there initial like, attraction, or did you were you kind of just feeling it out? I mean, this is the first time I'm assuming you're meeting him, correct?
Right. That was the first time I met him. Now I had already had. So when he put together the way he used to do it was, if you signed up for the seminar, you had access to all the videos, right? And there was a couple other stipulations in there that you had access to. It's changed a little bit, but that still holds true. So you were able to at least watch his videos and kind of get acclimated to how he teaches before the seminar. So because the seminar is a camp, it's broken down into the camp as well as the instructor portion. So the first half of the day is for people that just want to take the camp and aren't interested in becoming an instructor. Okay. Maybe don't feel like they have the skill level for the instructor portion. So so the first half of the day, everybody's there, and then we break for lunch and everybody leaves, and then the ones that come back are the people that are either instructors already or instructor candidates, trying to become instructors. So,
okay, so
watching the videos,
so those
I really liked, just like everybody else. If you saw the trailers of the videos, like they were originally being sold on Bob Berge's site, Edges too, Bob Berge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Everybody knows Bob Berge. Yeah. He's the one that kind of he's the one that recorded everything. So so when you saw the trailers of
that's
the
new to
videos, they were
me.
intriguing.
Okay.
So when I saw the videos, when I finally got access to the videos and I would watch them, I was like, okay, I see where he's going with this. And then I immediately I really liked the way he put it together. I enjoyed his progression. So then going to the seminar is like going to any seminar. Any seminar, you just start actually doing the material. And then during the instructor candidate portion, he's watching everybody. And he's, excuse me one second. Let's get the door, please. That's my package. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So the instructor.
No worries. Go ahead.
He's watching, and he's giving you the material that he wants you to work on, and then he's going around the room and kind of watching everybody. And then on the second day, it's the same thing, but on the second day after the break, now he actually puts you through like a test, an evaluation, and so he'll show a technique, and then he calls everybody up, with you and your partner, and he has you both perform it, and that's how he determines who gets the first level, whether you start off as your apprentice instructorship or if you don't get it or not. So I don't remember how many people there in the first one. I kind of think it was like 30 people. I think he promoted 6 of us.
I'm sorry, like
something like that.
You're referencing the first camp there?
Yes, the first camp, correct. So because a lot of people had the misconception that you go, you pay, and you automatically get your instructorship, and that's not the case. Because when you do that, you really water down the system. You don't want to just say, okay, show up, and you leave out of here with a certificate saying you're an instructor. Doesn't matter what kind of level you're at. So he really wanted to make sure he kept that so where people actually had some kind of skill level, and again, like he'll determine what rank he's going to give you at the beginning. So for example, with me, he put me right away apprentice level 2, and then he jumped me up a couple levels the next time around, and so and that's how it goes with pretty much everybody. That's how he does everybody.
So all right, I mean that's nice to hear that he's got some checks and balances, what have you.
Absolutely. And
not just open the floodgates.
At the other camps, he brings all the instructors that are already instructors under him, and when it's time for him to do the evaluation and actually look at how everybody's doing, he calls everybody into the back with him, all the instructors with him, and say, okay, what's your opinion on this group, on this guy, and this, what do you think? He gives, and ultimately he has the final say so, but he asks our opinion.
That's nice though that he does that.
Yeah, because you look at your guy, and maybe somebody says, maybe he doesn't get it, and then one of the other instructors said, no, I think he's got it. He just maybe needs a little work, or so he takes our opinions into account. So, which is cool.
Oh, I like that. That's yeah, right. Because I mean, if he's going to still trust in you, I mean, why not give you a say? I mean, especially if it's your people you're bringing in. Hey, we got some comments here. I was just going to take. So Paul, hey Paul, thank you for jumping in. Nathan, hi Nathan, thank you for jumping in. Seafood, Greg Bichardo, hi, how you doing? Seafood, yes. Actually, I've been meaning to reach out to you, see if you're interested on coming on here regarding Cast Magna. So actually, I'm going to write myself a note. Seafood Greg.
Seafood Greg's the man.
What's that?
He's a great guy. I said Seafood Greg's a great guy.
No, I've heard nothing but great things. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's your first experience. He got you. So again, I just want to kind of recap on the first one for those perhaps who didn't see and what have you before we jump into the demos. What overall? I know that's your first your experience and all that, but like what'd you take from it? Like what really stood out? Maybe during or post camp. Like what really resonated with you and stood out?
I mean, anybody that's studying Panantukan, no matter where you're studying it from, what instructor, it's really is a boxing base. If you don't have that boxing base, you're not really doing Panantukan. You might be doing something else. Not that what you're doing is wrong, but it's not real Panantukan. It might be another, Filipino. So many Filipino arts have empty hand systems. They all call it something different, right? But Panantukan is Filipino boxing. So if you don't have that boxing structure, you're not doing it, right? So his boxing, the way he teaches it, again, he's an Ajahn in Muay Thai, so and as well, he's an instructor in other systems. So seeing his body mechanics and the way he does it, the way he performs it, and the breakdown, like I said, it's really, when you see it, it's very impressive, and it's just, and he's not egotistical about it at all. He's just, he just wants to share everything with you. And again, it's just the way he structured the program. Again, people think that, do I need to know technique A, B, C, and D? It's not about that. It's about being able to see it and understand it, and be able to perform it. But it's not like you have to. It's not like a set curriculum that says you have to know these techniques to become an instructor. You have to have a skill set, basically. You have to have certain attributes. You have to have a certain skill set. And if you don't have that boxing base, you're not going to get it. If you have if you have a C-lot background, that's helpful as well, because when you start getting into the C-lot throws, if you don't understand the whole balancing concepts, that's a little troublesome too. You're gonna have problems with it. But that comes later as well. But the like I said, you'll see the Thai boxing influence in there, and that's the way Gurdan teaches. Gurdan's been studying with so just in the Filipino martial arts alone is 36 different influences. So if you look at all his background, he's a human being, right? So everything he takes into, he internalizes it, and it comes out when he teaches. And so it's the same way Daniel and pretty much I think everybody else teaches. You internalize what you learn, and then you bring it out, right? So you'll see that Thai boxing influence in the way certain movements are done, the Junfan influence. So but ultimately it's a Filipino boxing, and you see the flavor of that Filipino boxing, and that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Okay, yeah. Matter of fact, it's pretty accurate what you're saying, because I did have a conversation with him, and because it was something I was obviously interested. I got the program, what have you, and he kind of reiterated, basically. He mentioned sort of what you just said. That it's not that he didn't stress that you need to know everything in there,
right?
But again, he just stressed like he can tell right away if you got good mechanics, if you
right.
know how to hit well, and all that. And I definitely got that from him. That's what he was stressing, as opposed to like maybe like a whole memorization per se.
Right.
So I found that refreshing. That he wasn't. I asked him, say, look, I know you got these programs are required to remember. And matter of fact, his exact comment was kind of joking, was like, no, that would be a lot, and all that. So that was John. Hey, brother, Amok. But yeah, so I thought that was refreshing, that it wasn't so much, not like A through Z per se, but more that just knowing good basics, good fundamentals, how to put things together, and all that.
Yeah, because if you look at the first set of DVDs that he put out was the Dirty Boxing Mastery set, and it's 4 DVDs, and it's a lot of material. It's a lot of material.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's.
It's not about memorizing. Yeah. It's not about memorizing that material. It's knowing that you have the skill set to be able to perform it. So, and that's again that was really a big draw for me. That's what I wanted.
Yeah. Because man, when I hear memorization, man, that's just, I'm not. I tell you, some guys, they're good at it. They resonate. But if you tell me, okay, you have to remember these 16 drills, it's not gonna be pretty, man. But if you tell me, hey, tough, I'm gonna try to kill you, you need to do this, and I tend to fall in that better. Not that that results in 100% and all that. I don't want to get that misconstrued.
I know what you're saying.
But everybody's different, Okay, so you kind of touched upon it already. So how many? Again, I bought the whole thing from them. They were different. There was the mastery. There was all that. How many official programs does he offer currently?
I think in total it's I want to say it's nine DVDs, I think.
So if you were to get the whole thing.
Yes, it's 9 or 11. Yeah.
Okay, as far as like, okay, again, it's.
Yeah, like if you look at the Dirty Boxing, the Mastery DVDs, there's a lot of focus mitt drills in there. And then you see the Killer Dirty Boxing series is less, I believe, don't hold me to which one it is. I'm just spewing off right now. But one of the other series, you don't see so much focus mitt drills. It's more so, training with each other type of thing. So you're actually doing it on your partner as opposed to him holding mitts.
Okay.
So, there's a lot. And what's nice about it is that there's, it's different material. It's not like, you're seeing the same drills in one video onto another video. So
No, you know what
like
stood
I
out
said,
for me? There were a couple of things like I
say
really
again.
liked his measuring stick.
Oh, the
Like there were
measuring
some
stick.
things
Yeah,
that
yeah,
really stood out. Yeah, like I thought
yeah, yeah.
that was like one of the best things. I know it's simple, but that I really appreciated. Like
Yep.
like hey, like right there, like you could negate like a lot of
Right.
stuff from there.
Right.
So that was like one of the
And
best pieces I like.
that's a perfect example of how it's a principle and concept based program.
Mm,
The same way Gurdan teaches. It's based on principles and concepts. It's not based on learning techniques. It's based on understanding motion, and
yeah,
how you do certain things, as opposed to technique one is this and technique two is that,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's based
And
on
then you're like
principles, you know.
36 moves into.
Right, right. Yeah.
um, So, okay, ranking structure before we, because I promised everybody demo. So, how about you just share us with those who may be interested the ranking structure?
Under Gurdan or under Gurdaniel?
Daniel, the Dirty Boxing.
Okay, so Gurdaniel does it apprentice level. There's 5 levels of apprentice. Then there's 5 levels of associate, and then you become full instructor. And I'm not sure how many. So I'm associate level 5 under him now. So if all goes well, the next time I see him and I do well with the evaluation and testing, I hopefully will get full instructor.
Okay,
Nothing's
so
guaranteed.
yeah. No, I'm sure you're gonna do great. So so the moment you become like a rep per se or certified, you're associate level 1. Am I correct in that?
No. Apprentice level 1 is the first one. So you get your apprentice
Okay,
level. So the first, like Gurdan does the same thing. Gurdan has apprentice level as the first one, and then you have so with Gurdan he has associate, and then years ago he added on a senior associate level. Gurdaniel doesn't have a senior associate level. It's just apprentice, associate, and full. So you start off
okay.
with
With
the
the associate,
yeah,
there are 5 levels.
right. So there's 5 levels of
Oh,
apprentice,
okay.
5 levels of associate, and then you hit full instructor. And I'm not sure how. I don't know if he does full instructor then senior full the way Gurdan does. I'm not really sure. But it's 5 levels of associate, and then you get your full instructor from
I
there.
got you. Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I just want to cover that just for people who
Mhm.
didn't see the first one where you're coming up. Hey, Mike Lamego and Jose Hiron. Hi there. Um, okay. All right. So what I figure we do is, if it's okay with you,
Uh-huh.
kind of a little, show and tell.
Okay.
Basically, and again, I kind of planned out right. We're like about 25 minutes in
Yep.
because I want to count for some time to talk to your son. So, I
Okay.
mean, again, no, don't hold back. I mean, we got time. So whatever you want
Okay.
to.
All right. So we'll get started. So I'll show you some uh some basic drills that we start off. So the ones I like to start off with, the way I teach it, um, the way I like to show it is there's some basic fundamentals that you need to understand, to continue to progress, right? So
Sure.
let's assume that I'm teaching somebody that already has the boxing fundamentals. I don't want to start from the very, very beginning. The proper way to throw a jab, the proper way to throw a cross and a hook and all that, right? So that's what if you have no training at all, that's what I'm gonna start you with. You're gonna learn how to throw a
All right.
jab.
If you
You're
have
gonna learn how to
nothing,
throw a
okay.
cross. Yeah, you're gonna throw. Yeah, you have to learn how to do it. You have to learn your movement base. Your triangle stepping. How to move forward and back, circling, all those types of things, right? So you're gonna break those down. So those aren't broken down in the DVDs. So in the DVDs, it's kind of like it gives you already the more intermediate material. So it takes into account, like, it's assuming you already have a basic knowledge, right? So
Okay.
I break it down into those basics. But then once you understand that, then I start to show you these certain drills. So I'm gonna have my son help me out here. So my son
Perfect.
pulled his rib muscle last week when we were training. So we're gonna go really slow.
No, that's
So
fine. Yeah.
yeah, his side is bugging him. So he's
No, slow is good, so people can see it. No problem.
so can you see us over here? Come over here. Say hi.
Uh,
You can see us?
yeah. No,
Okay.
that should be. Yeah.
All right. So one of the concepts that you learn, let's say from the elbowing. When you throw an elbow, whatever the last elbow is, so we're gonna do what's called elbow and knee, right? So you're gonna throw whatever your last elbow you hit with, that's the hand that's gonna grab and it's gonna pull down and do that knee. So we're gonna do what's called left elbow, right knee, right elbow, left knee. Okay? And again, you can mix it up with punches, whatever, but for now it's just strictly elbows. So it's gonna look like this. We're gonna do it without the focus, miss. So if I say left elbow, you can see this. I can't really see. We're in frame there. So he's going to go left elbow. He's going to go right elbow. That same hand, he's going to grab the top or the back of my head. From there, he's just going to drive that knee. Now he can. I like to practice more to the stomach, but he can pull my head down, grab. He can pull my head all the way, go to the knee, to the head. He can pull my head all the way to the knee. Does that make sense? Right?
Sure.
Okay, so again, he's going to go left elbow, right elbow. So after this elbow goes, that's the same hand that grabs. He pulls my head down, he drives that knee. Now we're going to reverse the order. Now he's going to go right elbow first. So he goes right elbow, then he goes left elbow. Now this is the last elbow that goes. He's going to grab with that hand. Now he's going to switch knee, and he drives that knee. Now that switch knee is not Panantukan. That's Thai. That's Muay Thai. So we have a knee where you just kind of step, and knee. But the quicker knee is the Muay Thai knee. It's a more effective, so we use that, right? So, so I just want to make that clear because then people are like, that's not Panantukan. That's Muay Thai. It is Muay Thai.
Now, how dare you shift gears?
Yes. So he's going to go right elbow again, left elbow. He's going to grab with that same hand, and he switched it. Boom. Does that make sense? So left elbow, right elbow, you grab with the right, knee with the right. Right elbow, left elbow, grab with the left, knee with the left. First basic. And then we put that into, we do it as focus mitts. So if I had the focus mitts, we're going to go really light again. He's going to go light, I should say. So he's going to go left elbow, grab, right knee. Boom. And right elbow, left elbow, grab, left knee. And we'll just keep going back and forth. Right elbow, left elbow, grab, switch, left elbow, right elbow, grab. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now, here's the difference when you throw punches without combining the punch and the elbow, just strictly punches. So, just like the way Gurdan and Usano teaches, your first three basic combinations with the boxing is you have a jab, a cross, and a hook. You have a cross, a hook, and a cross. And then you have a hook, a cross, and your hook. Those are your first three basics. Once you understand those, it's a matter of learning those, your uppercuts, your overhands, things like that. And it's a matter of putting in combinations. But those are your first three, the easiest ones to do. So with the punches, the slight difference with that is he's going to throw a cross. He's going to throw a hook. He's going to throw a cross. So now with the elbow, the last hand that hit was the hand that grabbed. But he's going to pull his back, and he's going to grab now with the opposite hand. And now he's going to draw and throw that knee. Right? So he's still grabbing with the left hand, throwing the left knee. But the difference is he's switching hands to grab. Right? So far? So again, he's going to go cross. He goes hook. He goes cross. He switches hands. He grabs, and he drives the knee. Now we reverse it, and we go hook first. He's going to go hook, cross, hook, and now he pulls back, and he's going to grab the right hand, and he drives that right knee. Okay? We'll do that one again. He's going to go hook, cross, hook, and he grabs, drives the knee. So that's where people tend to get confused. So Gurdan generally, you'll see when he does the camp, is he'll stick to one or the other. And the easiest being the elbows. And once you understand that basic concept, you can mix the punches and the elbows. So for example, he can start off with a cross and then two elbows. And now, because that's the last elbow he did, he grabs and throws the knee. He can start with a hook. Two elbows. Yep, hook. Then elbow, elbow. Now he grabs with that one. Boom. I can change that. He can start with an elbow, then a hook, and then a cross. And now he switches, and he grabs with that knee. Right? He can start with a left elbow, a cross, and a hook. He switches, and he grabs and drives that knee. Do you see the concept there? Do you see the principle? What I'm trying to get across?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. No.
So again, the basic principle is if I'm throwing elbows, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 or elbows, whichever elbow I finish with is the hand I grab, and I drive that same knee, right? And where people also have trouble with grabbing, when they tend to grab with the elbow, they tend to do this sometimes. You'll see this. They'll elbow, but instead of grabbing this side of the head or the top of the head, they'll switch to this and drive this knee. Structurally, that's not the same. There's times you can do that, or sometimes you'll see this, where they'll grab with this hand and drive this knee. And there's a way of doing that one as well, but that's not the same one that we're working on. So people kind of confuse that a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
So the way I like to explain it to people to kind of remember it is if I throw this elbow, I say think of hitting with this hand. So instead of just grabbing, this becomes a hit. So it's an elbow and a hit. So like an elbow and a hacking motion. And then you grab. You can grab anywhere. I like to grab from the neck up. Preferably not even so much the neck, more so where the occipital is to the top of the head. But the neck is okay. Just not the shoulder area, because then you're fighting their back muscles.
Okay.
So same thing, if I hit this elbow, I grab at that side and I switch knee. The way I explain the punches, I always say with the punches, think about it like you're going to throw another punch. So if I go cross, I go hook, I go cross, it's like I'm pulling this hand back, and it's like I'm going to grab, and I'm shooting out the other hand almost like I'm throwing another punch. And I grab, and I grab, right? If I go hook, cross, hook, I bring this hand back, I extend the other hand, I drive that knee. That principle makes sense?
Oh,
so
yeah.
That one's huge. If you can get that down before you actually attend a seminar, you're going to have a lot of it, because then from there, that can finish like that. That can lead into throws. So, for example, for an example, if I want to go into like a silat throw, and let's say I throw this elbow here, and I grab and I knee, now instead of finishing there, I can take him out into an off-balance position and go into like a outside foot sweep. So I'll do that again. So I go here, right elbow, I grab, I knee, I put him into the outside foot sweep position, I pull the foot. So I can take them all the way around, or I can start hitting, right? If I do the opposite side, and I go elbow here, and I grab to this side, and I pull, now I put them here, and now I'm in position for the inside foot sweep. And you set him up for more hits, right? Because traditional silat, in at least the way it's taught to us, is more so to take the guy to the ground. So in the Panatukan flavor of it, is more so to kind of balance him to do more damage. Maybe to hit.
To enable the sweeps. Okay.
Right? That makes sense? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Then you'll see things like, so for example, what comes out of the stick work, right? So let me grab my sticks. So anybody who studies Filipino martial arts knows Heaven Six, right? Inward, backhand, backhand, inward, backhand, backhand. Or Redondo Six or Roof Six, whatever you want, Fluid Six, inward, backhand, inward, right? Inward, backhand, inward. So the same idea here. So if he throws, let's say a jab cross, I can go here, and now I start doing my parry and hitting. So that's just like going inward, backhand, right? First part. So I can parry the jab, then inward, backhand, right? So if you start doing, for example, the limb destructions, so there's a drill that looks like this. He throws a jab, and I do an inward gunting. He throws a jab again, I do a backhand gunting. He throws the cross, I do an inward gunting. He throws the cross again, I do a backhand gunting. So what you're doing is you're practicing doing those movements from your different positions. I could be here, I could be here. So he calls this, you'll see this, in stick work, you see this, right? That the chamber position, right? That chamber position. So sometimes you hear it called as the Philly shell, reverse Philly shell, right?
Yeah.
From here I can do my inward. From the reverse Philly, I can do the backhand gunting. From this position, I can do the backhand gunting in this side. And from this position here, I can do the inward gunting against the cross. Or whichever way you want to look at it. So it's a nice drill that you go one. So let's do it again. I'll do it not at speed, but I won't stop this time.
Sure.
So I'm here. He throws a jab. I go inward gunting. He throws a jab again. I do backhand gunting. He goes across. I do inward gunting, and I do backhand gunting. So all I'm doing is turning my body to prepare for which angle he's coming. So to make that understandable, if I'm in this position here, I'm not going to do an inward gunting, right? Because my hands are in that position. Make sense? So if he's here, So again, if he throws the jab, but I'm in this position or I'm in this position, it's too late for me to do this, right? My hands have to be more in double pillar position when he throws the jab for me to do that. But if I'm more here, that's where that backhand gunting would come into play.
Gotcha. Okay.
So and that's and it's the same angles whether you're doing, parrying and hitting, doing the limb destruction, and all that type of stuff. Then you have drills where you can add in kicks, right? So I can do where he throws the jab, I can do parry hit, and I kick with the front round kick. He does it again, parry hit, rear round kick, right? Parry and hit, I can do the front kick to the groin. Again, parry and hit, front kick to the groin, right? I can go on the inside, boom, and kick the outside of the leg.
Okay.
Right? So I'll do it again. So for the first one, I'm on the outside of the arm, I round kick the inside of the leg. I'm on the inside of the arm, I round kick the outside of the leg. I'm on the outside of the arm, I front kick, or I can teep again. I can teep here. Sorry, he goes again, and of course I kick him right in the rib where he has trouble. I can teep there, right? You can also do the side kick. You do the same thing again. I can side kick here on the inside, side kick. So again, you're learning the different entries from your body positioning, whether it's here, double pillar, more in.
All right. So regardless of what structure you're in, okay, yeah.
Right. So you're learning. The most economical method of your parrying or hitting, whatever you're countering, depending on the position of your body.
All right.
Here. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. No, I think it was well presented. Yeah.
And if you, like I said, if you study with Gurdan or any instructor under Gurdan, you'll already have that structure as part of your training. So that's why when I started training with Gurdaniel, it wasn't foreign because we've already been doing it. Again, it's just he expounds on those drills. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you another example here. So going back to the Heaven Six, right? So more of a slamming, where you're hitting with the forearms, right? So he throws that jab, and it might be, you're hitting once, and maybe you're hitting the arm again. So it's like you're inward, your backhand, and backhand, right? So there's a lot of different drills where it's doing destructions. You have your ikis with the forearm here. So
okay.
Yeah. And then you'll see that weaponry aspect come into play. Just like when we're doing the elbows, comes from the blade, right? When we do the which I'm sure you already know this already.
No, but the one that you just did is like my favorite. Where you're just coming just wham,
right, smash, right.
Yeah, man, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So the knife comes into play. That's from the Pangamut series that Gurdan teaches, and this is done with a knife, but without the knife in hand, it becomes the elbow, right? So if he does a jab cross over, nice and easy, I can parry this or scoop this, and he does that, and I can do a vertical cut, right? Can you see the knife from there?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay. If I do that empty-handed, it's the same idea. I can scoop this, and then I elbow smash vertically. I can also do it horizontal. I can do a diagonal up. I can do horizontal. I can do diagonal down, right? So the idea is you're smashing that. And the blade's in hand, you're doing the same thing, but with the blade. So you'll see those aspects that come from the weaponry, So, that's that in a gist, in a nutshell, is like, there's so much more than that, right? Like I said, you have more of the silat throws. You'll see like the beset, the silhig, they call the silhig, the Filipino term, which is the back sweep.
Yeah,
you see those techniques.
Right.
So
I really like with the what you're showing there, like the punches, using the knee in the punches in the knees, perhaps for some else bouncing, and then go right into those sweeps. So I definitely like the blend of that. I mean, that makes sense. That resonates. Yeah.
Once you have that principle of understanding left elbow, right elbow, grabbing with the right, hitting with the right knee, right elbow, left elbow, grabbing with the left, hitting with the left knee, then, like I said, that might be the finish, or that might be not the prefix, that might be like the root word. Like Gurdan likes to break things down into the prefix, the root, and the suffix. That might be the root, and then you end up with a sweep, right? So whatever your finish is good. It might just be a kick or a kick with sweep. So it's again, it's having those principles and then being able to put it together.
No, I thought that was excellent. Thank you so much. That was well done. When does he again? I haven't seen the material in a while. I did get it years ago. Is there any of the Dumag in there? Was there any of that in there?
It's okay if
it wasn't. I'm just curious.
I'm trying to think. There is. The most common Dumag technique there is the push and pull plus the bondak with the forearm where you
come in. The rolling the forearm.
Yeah, the roll.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you see that. So he throws across, and you get the split entry. Let's say into that. You'll start.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah,
that type of thing. That's in there. But Dumog, Dumog, not so many people. I mean, there's different kind of expressions of Dumog. Because it's not real. You don't see a lot of traditional Dumog that people really know. I only know from what I've learned from different people.
No, I know, and sometimes what you're seeing. Matter of fact, I had a conversation about this. Somebody who's pretty high up. I don't want to mention our names. I didn't get permission, but and he basically said what you're seeing in the Philippines now is basically BJJ in there, and now and then just using the umbrella term Dumog, anything that kind of falls underneath it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to get the real jungle stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this 100% accurate, but just from doing these interviews and talking to people, it just seems like you have to go Mindanao, like where they have a real just jungle / Silat, Kuntao, just that real,
Yeah, it's hard to get, you might get a piece of something, and
that's right.
That forearm break, not the break, but the forearm pull like that. That's the most common. Like when people say Dumog, that's what a lot of people think of. That moment.
And the push and that kind of like I remember from Bunek, the push and pull.
Exactly. The push pull with the shoulder joint. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, right. Yeah. And that's still good stuff.
There's some aspects of that in there, and again, Gert Daniel has set up in a way that it's always evolving. So if you look at his YouTube channel now, he's right now. I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. I should say I texted him a couple of weeks ago, and he was explaining that right now because of the whole COVID in the Philippines, he doesn't have his training partner with him over there, so he hasn't been able to make any videos in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
But if you look at his YouTube channel, you'll see the same concepts and principles, but put into different. I hate saying the word technique, but in a different technique, right?
Yeah.
So
he's done a lot.
It's a constant evolution. He's constantly evolving. The same way Gurdan does. If you look at Gurdan from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to now, he's constantly evolving because of what he trains in. Whether it be FMA or anything else. So he's constantly.
Isn't he doing Balintawak? I mean, wasn't that his recent study?
He was a few years ago he was bringing out Balintawak in the seminars, and there was one portion. So he was showing the Balintawak that Grandmaster Atilio teaches.
That's sanctioned.
Yeah, the Salvedra system. So I don't know. He hasn't done it in a while, at least at the seminars that I've been to in the last few years. And and this is pure conjecture on my part. I kind of think that the drill's called Mother Spar, and it's like the nucleus of that system. And a lot of people were having trouble getting it. So I kind of think that maybe he stopped doing it because of that. I don't know.
Because in the big group format, maybe.
Yeah,
it's hard for people to.
You talk about a Gurdan seminar. Sometimes you have 100 people there, and
all
different skill levels. And the way I love his analogy. His analogy, and I'm gonna kind of paraphrase his analogy, but he always says, it's like teaching school, right? But teaching a class that's made up from kindergartners to grade school to middle school to high schoolers to college students to grads, to professors. So imagine teaching a class of that such varied knowledge and having to teach everybody. So
it's very difficult.
Tough. So he'll teach the very beginning material all the way up to more advanced material. So when he was doing that, some people were getting it, some people knew it, some people had training in the Balintawak.
Yeah, somebody who maybe were exposed to it.
Yeah, I was very fortunate because I was an instructor under Tuhan Harley Elmo before, and at one of our instructor camps, we were actually working that drill. We spent the whole weekend working that drill and variations of it. So I was fortunate because when I came back home and the next Gurdan seminar that I went to, he happened to be working on it. So I was able to.
So you were fresh with you.
Yeah, so I was able to do it. And then, so people saw us. So at the seminars, I feel bad when I see people having trouble. So I always offer. But what happened was a couple of guys came over and they said, "Can you help us?" And they stood alongside us. So I look over and there's like a row of people to my right and a row of people to my left, and they're all following along. They got to learn it. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, good on you for helping people, because some people they feel they
Yeah,
can't be bothered or something.
yeah.
And I just, yeah, well, you know
I
where those
feel
people
bad.
go.
So,
Yeah.
I like for people to, yeah, you're going to a seminar and you're trying to learn
Yeah.
something, and people trying to learn, and I
Yeah,
tell
we're
people,
all
listen,
learning.
listen, if
Yeah.
you're not going to pick up everything that he's showing you. There's a lot of material. Concentrate on a few different
No.
things and try to pick those up. So.
Yeah.
And my
No,
son,
no, no. I mean, so here's the
my
thing.
son has kind of done the same
It's
thing.
overwhelming. If you're new, it's overwhelming.
Oh, it's very overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
remember
would be. I tell you, I'd be right
first day of seminar.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, my first one, I was like,
yeah.
oh my God, what are we doing?
I
And
can imagine.
I had no training in Filipino martial arts back then, so I was
Yeah, and
I
then
was
you're
lost, but
going
I
to
was
see,
intrigued.
you're going to see groups. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. But the whole thing is, as you continue, the whole thing is, you want to take a couple of things, work on it, go back, pick up another couple of things, work on it, go back,
Yeah,
and hopefully you can find a qualified instructor to teach you.
that's good. Yeah,
Did you want to speak to my son while he's on his
that would
video
be
game?
fantastic. So, folks who are watching, those who know me, I'm a big, I really stress getting the younger generation involved and all that. So, Carl's son here is 17, so I wanted to get his perspective on what he feels about FMA and all that, because I'm telling you, some of you might have heard this before, we need to get the younger generation involved. If we don't, in 20 years, I'm not saying I want to be right or I hope to be right. I just think you're going to see a lot of these systems, and not just here in the Philippines too. They're just going to fall by the wayside. We don't have the numbers coming in like MMA or BJJ or the traditional systems. We just don't. And so I'm a big component. I stress that, like really trying to get the youth involved. So this is fantastic. So how you doing? What's your name, sir?
Carlos.
Okay, Carlos Jr. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
we're very, very original in my family.
yeah. Just keep it. We got Carlos Jr. We got Carlos Jr. Jr.
Yeah. And my father's name is Carlos, so
Okay.
very
All right.
original.
So, okay. All right. So yeah, I had a few questions for you, and is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear
So
him?
what age did you start FMA?
Since I was really young, I probably when my father started getting like more serious with it, I was probably around 3. But he used to have me just kind of like hit the little mitts or whatever, just have me swing the stick when I was really really young. Just so pretty much.
Oh, fantastic. Like when you got a little older and you were able to get a better comprehension, your training, all that. Like what appealed to you just in regards to FMA as a whole in general?
Um, I mean, I like the fact that it broke it down, so like it was explained very well. So it was a good way to understand not only just the weapons and stuff, but even the striking and how the striking kind of helps back up the weapons and how it kind of translated over and everything.
Oh, nicely put. Nice. Absolutely, I was doing a good job. Again, this could be anything, but is there within the realm of FMA, do you have a favorite weapon or favorite aspect of FMA, whether it be empty hand, sticks, knife, short and long?
I mean, I just kind of enjoy the art overall. I don't really have anything
Overall?
favorite.
That's fair. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, the way I kind of try to teach the same format that Gurdan teaches. So we're learning. I've been teaching him single stick, double stick, stick and dagger, double dagger, single dagger, staff. So he's gotten the realm of all the weaponry variations, all the
That's
subsets.
awesome.
So
that's fantastic. So okay, as I kind of mentioned before you came to the screen, how do you again just answer whatever comes to your mind, far as growing the FA community, I'm a firm believer we need the youth to do this, because our generation, me and your father's generation, and people older than us, when we go there, I feel, and I'm hoping that right, there's going to be a void unless we get younger 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, even teens kind of in. And what I'm wondering is, people around your age, what could you? I mean, what do you think? What could you explain to them, like that would make them maybe interested? Because obviously I don't have much exposure around your guys' age, but like, what do you think would be helpful to get the younger generation in?
I mean, to be fairly honest, the way that I kind of just like realistically, talking about martial arts as a whole, I feel is easier to kind of get people into it. If you're talking about just one, like for example, like FMA or whatever, I find it to be harder just to talk about one style specifically because I feel as if you're able to relate it to something on a bigger scale, it's usually easier to kind of bring more people and get their interest into it. But the way that I've kind of always just spoken to people about it um, is I just kind of talk about the history of it, and if I talk about the history of it, usually people get interested.
Oh,
But for
right on.
a lot of people who also aren't into history either, if you just show them something basic, usually a lot of times they become interested because they're like, "Oh, how'd you do that?" Or how do you understand this? Or how can you explain that? You know what I mean? So it's really
Hmm.
just
No, that was excellent. You touched upon something that I think is really important, something they can relate to. And that's, I think, a key thing because if you look at MMA, infomercials, commercials, magazines, I mean, you can have your average housewife and she's going to know the names of top fighters, MMA, whether she watches them or not. But that was key. Like, I don't think we have that thing to relate to on a bigger scale than, as far as what's out there and available where people can get, out to see it, more often than not, which in our case is not. Um, that was well put. I thank you for that. And just before we leave, what are your just you individually? What's your future goals
I mean, if you're talking about martial arts as a whole, I do plan
in
to
FMA? Like, what are your goals, like as far as
expand.
FMA goes?
Oh, I mean, just get better. I mean, that's pretty much just it.
He has a big. He has a
Just
big.
get better in what you're currently doing.
He wants to fight. He wants to fight professionally. He wants to get into mixed martial arts. So he really likes the empty hand aspect of it. That's what he was trying to tell you
Okay.
before. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you got a couple more people. Hey, Rudy. Thanks for coming on, brother. All right. I want to thank you both. I thought the demos were excellent. I thought they were well done, well articulated. I thought people got the sense. I mean, I thought they were really, really well done. I thank you for that. I mean, obviously, people watching, they get a better sense of those and all that. I thought they were really, really well executed. And, I thank you.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you, Carlos. I mean, for the questions. Those are some great answers. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm sure you could have like a thousand other. Hey, I gotta help Dad tonight.
Yeah, he lost
But I
a little
appreciate
video
it.
game time
Thank
helping
you.
me out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it shows. Yeah, absolutely. And his boxing form, I thought was fantastic.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
made sure from the time he was. I mean, I've been teaching him since he was before he could even walk,
I
and
believe
when he was 6 years old is when I started to really kind of do it more officially, like more of
Mhm.
a an actual teaching him. And from the time he was little, that was one of the things we harped on was his hands being up. When
Yeah, yeah.
Gurdan saw him, he really was impressed by his body mechanics.
Obviously,
Gurdan was
why?
Guru Rambaliki, when he saw him, was like, wow, he was really impressed by his
Yeah,
motion. So, he's
I
he's
believe
he's
it.
he's pretty he's much better than I am. So, and the fact that he's starting a lot younger than I did, he's got a great advantage.
Man, could you imagine if we had access to this
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, I keep, that's why I tell my kids, I'm like, you guys don't get it. Like, you are so lucky that, like, we didn't, it just wasn't there for us.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, I know. God, if we just, I know.
yeah. So
Well,
I try to expose him to all my instructors. So he goes with me to the seminar.
well,
So I'm trying to expose
yeah.
him.
Well, he's taking your advice and taking you up on it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Little
yeah,
becomes a little bit more expensive, but it's okay.
yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going bankrupt. I mean,
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
So what about you, sir, senior? What's your future goals when this thing ends up for us?
Well, I mean, I still, I just basically teach. I teach here. I teach in my backyard. I teach mostly privates. I do workshops. I was doing some workshops down in New York City. I was doing some couple workshops up here, near in the county over in Nyack at Royce Ramos' school. Unfortunately, the school in New York City had to close down because of this whole COVID thing, and that was New York Sanda Polanco Fighting Systems. My friend Frank over there, and but hopefully they'll open up another location. Maybe we'll continue doing some more workshops down there as well.
I hate hearing that.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, that's also where Gerdaniel was doing his East Coast camp was there. So now, we'll have to see where the next. Yeah.
That's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I hope they get off the ground. They're really good people. So I hope things work out for them. But for me, I'll just continue teaching until physically I can't do it anymore. I mean, I teach some of the guys that I work with, and the ones that like to practice a little bit here and there, and I got a couple of new guys that want to come train with me. So I train anybody that wants to train, And
that's all. Hey, well, that's all you can do.
I try to keep learning, and I'm always trying to keep learning from somebody. So
yeah,
learn, So hopefully shortly you and I will get together too, trade some information.
Oh, I would love to when this damn thing ends and we can.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be before the summer's over. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I tell you, if this goes into fall, man, I'm gonna be one depressed fella.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I feel you on that one. 100%.
Obviously there's greater things going on out there, but but I know who would have thought, huh? Just,
yeah, never in a million years.
But hey, Brian, no problem that you're late. I'm going to download this. It'll be on YouTube, so you'll be good to go to see it. So no worries there. Okay, yeah, your dog's start. Yes, we have to start them early. I agree. All right, guys. Again, I want to thank you so much. This was perfect. There was some good some good show. It was all thumbs up.
Much. I appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much, Dean.
Yeah.
I appreciate it again.
All right, we'll be in touch for sure.
Yes, sir.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good one. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, everybody that tuned in. I appreciate that. Also, tomorrow, Steve Grody. Yes, Steve will be on. He's going to focus more on the trapping, the FMA trapping. And, of course, the JKD trapping will come into play as far as compare and contrast, in comparison. But mostly his primary focus will definitely be on the FMA trapping. So look forward to that. Again, that's going to be 7 tomorrow. Here on my wall, and that will be Steve Grody again. Really, if you guys could check that out, I highly recommend you do. Steve is not only going to be just talking about what to do against if somebody throws up, but how to counter if somebody's trying to, to trap you as well. So just, again, if you can make that, I think you guys are going to enjoy Steve. Plus, he's really funny, too. So, 2 for 1. All right. Again, thank you for those. And Seafood Greg, I owe you an email. I wrote that down. Good. All right, guys. And till tomorrow night, thank you and see you then.